everyone, I'm Kevin Nelson. Here's a look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from Rome. The former Archbishop of Milan, a prolific writer on themes related to family life and to bioethical issues, has passed away at the age of 83. Rome Reports has more on the life of Cardinal Dionigi Tettamanzi.
Cardinal Dionigi Tettamanzi has died at age 83. He was Archbishop Emeritus of Milan and was considered one of the so-called papabile, or possible popes, in the 2005 conclave, which elected Pope Benedict XVI. Dionigi Tettamanzi was born in 1934 and ordained a priest in 1957 by Cardinal Montini, then Archbishop of Milan, who was later Pope Paul VI. He received episcopal ordination in 1989 and was created cardinal in 1998 by John Paul II. The cardinal moved through several Italian dioceses until he succeeded Carlo Maria Martini in the Archdiocese of Milan in 2002. He taught fundamental theology for 2 decades, and his dictionary of bioethics is well remembered. He was always worried about families and their challenges. A yes to a commandment that leads to marriage is a yes that not only benefits the individual, the couple, or the family, but it's a yes that is reflected in the way a society develops. That's why hosting and celebrating the World Meeting of Families in Milan was one of his greatest joys. For me, an encounter of this type is like the golden pin of a passion that I've always had. Pope Francis, who is very aware of the cardinal's disease, sent a message of condolences, expressing gratitude to the cardinal for the great cultural and pastoral work he carried out in the archdiocese. He also mentioned his service, dedicated especially to pastoral marriage, family, and bioethics.
Looking now at news from around the world, UCAnews.com is reporting that Pope Francis will be visiting Myanmar the last week of November. However, the Vatican, acknowledging a possible trip is being studied, said it was too early to confirm the trip. According to UCA News Agency, the Pope would focus on trying to improve the troubles of about 1 million ethnic Muslim Rohingya. Most of the Rohingya population in Myanmar's Rakhine state have been denied citizenship. About 120,000 of them are trapped in internally displaced person camps near the state capital, Sitwe. A further 400,000 live in the state's north, which is currently under martial law. The UCA News is reporting the visit is expected to be announced officially in September. More news from around the world as the crisis in Venezuela continues to build. The Vatican, in a strongly worded statement, called on the government of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro to respect the will of the people and respect the nation's current constitution. Elections for seats on the assembly were held around the country July 30th amid massive protests and international outcry. Maduro's push for the assembly, comprised mainly of his supporters and designed to rewrite the nation's constitution, has led to violent demonstrations and many lives lost. Rome Reports has more on the Pope's recent message to Venezuela.
There are more than 100 dead in the streets due to political instability and tension. The European Union, the United States, and the Organization of American States reject the voting results for the National Constituent Assembly, while Nicolas Maduro continues to pursue his political project of perpetuating himself in power. In reacting to this situation, the Holy See again expresses its deep concern for the radicalization and worsening of the crisis in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, which is seen by the increase in numbers of dead, wounded, and detainees. The Vatican issued a statement Friday stating that the Pope is aware of the situation and its humanitarian, social, political, economic, and even spiritual implications. The Holy See calls on all political actors, and in particular the government, to ensure full respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms, as well as for the current constitution. They ask to avoid or suspend ongoing initiatives such as the new Constituent Assembly, which rather than promoting reconciliation and peace, fosters a climate of tension and confrontation and mortgaging of the future. At the same time, it called for the ideal conditions for a negotiated settlement, as is requested in this letter from December 1st, 2016. This includes the release of political prisoners, new elections, for the National Assembly to regain their powers, and international health assistance. Finally, the Holy See especially appeals to the Venezuelan government to respect human rights, and the current constitution in place. They also ask for the security forces to not use force in a disproportionate manner. The Pope assures the world of his prayer for the country and invites all the Christians in the world to pray for Venezuela during these difficult times.
Another note from around the world, Pope Francis expressed his condolences to the victims and survivors of a deadly shooting that occurred during Mass at St. Philip's Catholic Church in Ozubulu, Nigeria on August 6th. Witnesses say a gunman entered during an early morning Sunday Mass and opened fire during the prayers of the faithful. News outlets reported that at least 11 people were killed, as many as 18 others were wounded as they attempted to escape the attack. Authorities believe a target was a young businessman involved in a drug deal gone wrong. No suspects have been caught. And finally in the news, since 1922, U.S. Catholics in Rome, under the guidance of the Paulist Fathers, had called the Church of Santa Susana their parish. However, the cloistered Cistercian nuns, who have had a presence at the historic parish since 1587, and whose order owns the church, decided they wanted the church just to be a Cistercian parish. So for the past 5 years, the nearly 400 families that make up the American parish in Rome were without a home. Until now, that is, after working out a deal with the Augustinian priest from Ireland, the American Catholic community in Rome will now set up residence at St. Patrick's Church, located just a few steps away from the U.S. Embassy to Italy. The Augustinians had decided in 2012 to leave their ministry in Rome due to a lack of priests. So now, thanks to the Augustinian priests of Ireland, the American Catholic community in Rome has a new home. Well, that is all the information we have for you at this time. I'm Kevin Nelson. Don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV Network.